everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Engineering Quality, the podcast where we explore insights into testing, engineering, and the culture that brings teams to life. I'm Royalee.
Hi all, I'm Veronika.
Hi, everyone, and I'm Ellie. And today we are diving into a topic that shows up everywhere in engineering, in leadership, and in everyday life as well. We are going to be talking about the power of no and why turning down some opportunities is essential if we want to say yes to the right opportunities.
Exactly. From project requests, career decisions to everyday team interactions, we're constantly facing choices, right? And sometimes the most empowering thing that we can do is set a boundary.
We will explore how saying no can help us stay aligned with our values, protect our energy, and maintain the quality we care so much about.
That's right. So let's settle in. This is going to be a thoughtful one. Let's start from why we actually wanted to cover this today and why saying no is so important for the engineers and leadership as well.
I think saying no is such an important skill in engineering and in leadership overall, not only in engineering, because it directly protects the quality of what we build, regardless what we are building. When we say yes to everything, we end up rushing, cutting corners, or spreading the team way too thin, which
Yeah.
leads to lower
Burnout.
quality, yeah, and burnouts. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. And in engineering, right? It requires such deep focus, and every extra yes, especially the misaligned ones, it pulls away from that deep focus. And it becomes this constant context switching that hurts productivity and honestly also hurts morale.
It really does. And also it's not just about workload, right? Saying no can actually build trust because a clear no is a way more reliable than a yes that you can't deliver on. I've done that before, like overcommitting on yeses, not being able to deliver on that. So it kind of doesn't build trust if you say yes to everything, then you are late for delivery or you can't make it at all. So I think people associate a lot honesty with capacity or honesty about capacity is really important.
Yes, I want to dive into the question on why do we feel pressure to say yes, even when we are overwhelmed? What's up with that?
Well, I know that for me personally, I put a lot of pressure on myself, and I don't like feeling like I'm letting people down. For example, so if someone asks me to do something, I am like almost like a FOMO, like fear of missing out. I just want to make sure that I am in on it, that I can deliver it, that I can do it. So I think that fear of missing out is really something that's real for me.
Yeah, and then even working in certain teams, right? A lot of times it comes down to the company culture. So it's almost like if you are a person who constantly say no or who constantly pushes back or who doesn't offer yeses all the time, one, you don't get the visibility that you need for the promotions, the raises. Two, it's honestly it's used against you, which is sad,
Yeah.
right? Like in a lot of cultures, it is held against you because you say no or because you push back. And yeah, like I said, you just miss out on the opportunity. So a lot of times, and then a lot of times people are, it's not that they themselves feel pressured, but they literally are being pressured from leadership. Like it's like, you have to do this. There is this deadline. We have to get this done. There's nobody else. It's almost like you feel like you don't have the choice to say yes, but plot twist, you always have the choice to say no. And a lot of times when you push back, even though they say it has to be done by X date, there's always room for more time.
It's a good point, really. And also, I think you brought a good one about like unclear priorities, right? Because if someone from the top comes in and say, oh, we have to do it by X date, then our answer can be, okay, so here are our priorities. And what does it mean? What does it mean for us? Right? Like, are we like pushing something down in priority list and putting this in, or is it like at the bottom of the list of the priorities that we are already working? How urgent it is? What are the trade-offs that we can do? Because I feel like very often we feel the urgency of saying giving an answer without thinking through what exactly it means for us and more important for the team. Like so saying yes, it's great. I mean, like, it feels great in the moment. It's very good to feel like helpful and supportive to like whatever ideas are in there, stakeholders have, right, leadership have. But is it something that would stand the trial of time? I mean, it's like, is it good in the moment, or it's good overall? Like, would it just like really the right thing to work on right now?
Yeah, I think that brings a very good topic, because I know I felt like this before, where saying yes feels like we're just building momentum. Like, so we're working on something else comes up, and it's like, okay, I'm working on this, I want to continue on. Feels like you're being productive because you're saying yes, you're taking more things. A lot of us in engineering, we thrive on productivity, and having more tasks on our Jira board or something like that we can keep ticking off. We get a bit of that feeling of accomplishment as well. So, I know that I've done this a lot, and I do this a lot, and I need to kind of, remind myself that I'm chasing momentum instead of chasing intentional choice. And really kind of, because that energy can be contagious, right? Of you achieving things, and it's like,
Yeah.
great, I'm ticking things off. But it also brings a lot of stress and a lot of anxiety, because you see that list of things to do, like growing. So at the same time, it can feel like really contagious and exciting, but also, it starts building stress, and we can get to burnout much faster that way too.
Especially as women, right? I feel like the reality, it is a reality that we do have to work twice as hard um to get the same visibility, to get the same promotions, etc. And so a lot of times we feel like we have to say yes. There's this pressure to say yes to prove our competence, right? Or
Yeah.
to have people sponsor us and things like that. And honestly, like, saying yes sometimes is riskier than just saying no, because I've had situations where, to your point, Ali, like the FOMO, right? Or you're worried about missing out on this opportunity and having that opportunity to help with your growth and all of that. And I'll say yes. And I'm the person who I hold myself accountable. So when I say yes, even if it is an unrealistic yes, I'm going to get it done. So if it means that I am working literally 24 hours a day, not getting sleep just to get this done, I am going to do it. And it's totally not healthy.
Yeah,
Not healthy at all.
exactly. So yeah, I think, going back to your point of, women in tech, I think, that we are often socialized to be agreeable and collaborative as women, right? So it's like, we just have that already almost inbuilt in us. And then we come into an engineering environment where it's all about delivering, it's all about, working together. So I do feel, it feels sometimes that if saying no is really risky, because you might miss out on something. And the tech culture sometimes also just values that busyness and the speed and all of that. So you feel like you are letting your team down. You feel like, you're not being as productive as you could be as well. So I totally agree with you on that.
But at the same time, on the flip side, when we talk about like letting our team down, sometimes saying yes is letting our team down because it's
Yeah.
just too much, right?
Yes.
Like we did say this already, that too many things would lead to the burnout, like
Yeah.
100%. And how long the team would be able to sustain the speed and busyness, right?
Yeah.
Everyone needs a break. There is good things that can come out of this, like actually having too many things to do, right? So it might be one of the levers to grow the team. But unfortunately, growing the team doesn't happen instantly,
Especially
right?
these days.
So
These days, they're
yeah,
reducing team sizes.
well, I mean, like even if like you have the person approved, so maybe you will have them like in 6 months if you're lucky, right? But yeah, but you need to do work now. And it's like it doesn't help, and it's funny because what I noticed that leadership usually expect that once they have approved the expansion of your team, they're like, oh, okay, now you have all the like levers to do the work that we asked for. But it doesn't work this way. We still need to hire those people and train them and get them to the 100% of productivity.
And I mean, even the process of hiring, right, is a task by itself, because you have to prepare the interview process, the questions. You have to take the time to interview, and that is the time when you could have been using to working on all the other things that they want you to say yes to. So it's literally a lose-lose situation sometimes.
Yeah. So I think it goes back to alignment then, right? Because I mean, I think what I try to remind myself of these days is everything that I say yes to now means that I'm going to probably have to say no to something else later. So does this align with where I want to go, with the priorities that I'm working on right now, with my own personal priorities as well? So let's talk a little bit about that, about the importance of alignment. And how do you know when something is aligned, or if we're just chasing momentum or just forcing it? Like, do you have a way that you use? Like, how do you know that
I mean,
it is the right yes to say?
I feel like a lot of times when you say yes and you know deep down that it is not aligned, you can tell, right? Like, one, you procrastinate. You're not eager to get the job done. You take your own time. You overthink, or you even feel that resistance before starting. Like a lot of times, your instincts can tell you a lot, and
Yeah.
you have to trust your instincts sometimes. And you just know. You know when it is a no. You can know, like you feel it within your whole body that
Yes.
I should not be doing this.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I also want to say that as a result of saying like yes when it's not aligned, it's like lower quality because if we are not aligned what exactly we are trying to achieve,
Yeah.
then like how long it would take, then it's usually being rushed, which means that we potentially will cut corners. We will do like some quick and dirty approaches, and as a result, like maybe even not test properly. And hello, lower quality. Hello, incidents in production.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then when you are aligned, like when you know that this is something I should be doing, on the flip side, Veronica, to what you just said, you have higher quality, right? You enjoy learning, you enjoy collaborating on the topic. You look forward to the impact that, this thing will have, and like you can clearly see why it matters. You don't have that feeling of dread that you sometimes have with the misalignment. So it's a complete difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And I find as well that it has helped me a lot with trying to find out, because I sometimes I'm not really like in touch with my intuition, right? I think intuition is great to have, but sometimes it's like you're so busy in the moment and someone says something and you're like, yes, I'll put my hand up and I'll do it. But one thing on top of my intuition that I've been trying to work on is to really have a set of either values or core things that I want to achieve for a period. Everything is a season in life, right? So for right now, for example, I've got a young kid. I can't travel. I can't, it's really hard for me to travel. So if someone invites me for a conference, for example, it's easy for me now to say no if the conference is not here down the road for me, because I'm not going to get in a plane and do that. But in the past, before I had kids, it was really hard for me to say no to any conference anywhere in the world because I wanted to be in a conference. So, and I wanted to go and I didn't have kids. So even then at that time, if I had more, and that was one of the times that I really burnt myself out, was when I started doing conferences, because again, I'm like, I'm never going to have another opportunity to speak, at this place again. And if I say no now, they're never going to invite me again. So there's that FOMO again. But if I burnt out really badly because I was traveling, had work, and it just wasn't aligning with what I wanted to do. So now I try to keep the values or the core values right now for me, what they are, and what do I want to achieve in this season of my life as well, so we can reinforce my instincts when I'm making decisions about saying yes or saying no, both at work and outside as well. Hope that makes sense. I rambled a bit.
It does. I love that. So, what are some questions that you think, in general, like people should ask themselves or engineers should ask to determine whether something is aligned or not?
I think Ellie already started, right? Is it aligned with our values and our priorities? Right? Like values meaning it can be personal values, it can be company values, right? It can be two different layers. And priorities, right? Every company have like fiscal years, everyone have like yearly goals, quarterly goals, which are our priorities. So, and
Yeah.
if we are like, question is like, are they aligned like with is whatever is being asked is aligned with our current directions that company is going towards?
I love that because I haven't worked in many teams within organizations that really keep that focus, the goals, the strategy that you set up in the beginning of the year at the forefront of the decisions. And a lot of the times it's an easy decision to make if you look at the goals. It's like, is this going to help us achieve the company goal? And I don't think we ask that question enough. I always try to remind myself to help my team ask that question, but I don't think we do ask those questions enough. That's a great point, Veronika.
It's very hard to remember about this because it's much easier to be lost in the weeds since like
Yep.
we are like our heads are down and it's like we are working like we are seeing the task in front of us. We do not really put our heads up and look, okay, where are we going actually? Where is our North Star? Where is it?
Yes, exactly.
Another thing for me is the why is always so important. I can agree to do anything within reason if I have the bandwidth, but I have to understand why I'm doing it. I am not going to go and do something just because someone says you need to do this. It has to make sense to me. I have to understand why am I doing this. It just has to make sense.
I love that. And I don't think in the beginning of my career, especially, that I've asked that question enough. It was almost like it came from my manager. It must be something important. So, I'm not asking. I think I had to learn that more and more to say, what is the problem that we're trying to solve here? Why are we doing this? And a lot of the time, it's
Exactly.
like either because we've always done it this way, or you're trying to solve a different problem and they're giving you the solution instead of discussing the problem as well. So I love that, Royalee.
Sometimes the solution already exists, like you're
Yes.
trying to solve a problem that isn't actually a problem. There
Yep.
is already a solution for it that we just need to use, or, you just need to be made aware of.
Exactly. And I find that in testing specifically, when leadership asks for something to be delivered for testing, like, give me how many test cases did you execute, or is it how many test cases on your automation suite? They are asking for something, but they are not really getting what they think they're getting. So they're probably asking, like, what is the quality of this system? Like, can I trust it? Can we go live? Are we, what areas have been covered? But they don't know how to ask that. So it's even more important, I think, in testing and quality engineering for us to ask that question. Exactly. It's like, why are we delivering this? Why are we working on this? And why do you need these numbers, or why do you need this information? And then if you ask the why, sometimes you're able to provide a better answer, a better solution than what it's been asked for us to do. So
Yeah,
love that.
maybe sometimes people do not come with questions, they come with solutions, and it might
Yep.
not be the right one, right? So we need to come back, like trace it back to the what is the reason, right? What is the why? And then like try to like see if it was the best solution really to work on. And another thing, Ellie, I like that you said like when like managers can come to us and just ask something, and often we assume that they have done their due diligence already. But well, considering our fast-paced environment, it's usually incorrect to assume that.
Exactly.
Because they kind of like passing it over from higher up usually, not like they like have thought through that and coming to you with a request, right? And what I want to say is something else that we can reflect on while like we are getting the ask is like, are we the right person to actually take this in? And if we do we really have a capacity to do it well? Like, or it will jeopardize, let's say, other commitment, other priorities, or can we deliver whatever is asked with appropriate quality? Like, can we do that? So it's very easy to say yes without thinking about that and then think how to achieve it, but it usually bites us back.
It does.
If we don't consider, if we do not consider what effort entails.
And you know, it's so important to ask these questions before saying a yes, because a lot of times it's the assumptions that hurt us, right? Because we don't have the clarity. Because a leader can come and say, hey, do you think you can get this done? And you're just like, yes, I'll get it done. But, you know, you could have asked a question to say, well, why do I need to do this? You know, is there someone else who could do this? Is it urgent? Sometimes they ask a request that they themselves don't expect you to do it anytime soon. They don't need you to do it right away. But because it's being asked from a leader, you assume it's urgent and it's important when it's really not. And you could just say, well, is this a priority? You know, like, is it urgent, or does it need to happen now, or can it wait? And a lot of times it can wait.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I going back to what both of you said, and I think Veronika, you touched on, am I the right person to do this? It takes a lot of clarity to ask yourself that question, and it also takes a lot of courage. I think when someone asks you to do something, to say, I may be the right person right now with the right skills, but I'm not the right person with the capacity. Or I may have capacity, but I'm not the right person skill-wise to do this. I think every team has someone that it's the go-to by leadership. Like they always go to that person because they know the person will get it done or give them an answer. Like they know that they don't need to be like asking around. And if you are that person in the team, you're more likely to be getting these questions, and then you feel guilty that you're not going to, if you're pressured that you're not going to say yes, because like, well, I am a trust, we build our trust sometimes in saying yes and delivering, but sometimes at the cost of burning out as well. So I think being able to explain to leadership when you're asked to do something that, hey, I might be the right person to do this, but right now I'm working on, the 6 other projects. It won't be right for me to take this because I know I'm not going to be able to deliver the quality that I like to deliver things on. It takes a lot of courage and self-knowledge to do them.
That's true. And also, like, I like this angle of like having this like go-to person, right? So like I want to just like share an advice for this go-to person. Every time when you get the ask, think about any other person in your team and see if someone else can take it on before you can take it on. Kind of like the power of delegation, right?
Yes.
So see like if there is anyone else who can learn from this, who can be uplifted from this, who potentially can be noticed by doing that.
And also who has the bandwidth.
Yes. That's correct. That's a good one.
But I think this crosses over a lot with seniority as well. I love that take, Veronica, of what you said there. It's like, if you are a go-to person, you're most likely a senior person in your team. And delegation is not only about your own capacity, but it's also about, growing the team and being able to grow other people in the team. And that's a real important part of being a senior in a team, or a manager, or a staff engineer. You have to learn how to delegate in a way that other people can also be exposed to different things. You might still need to mentor them and help them and coach them through, but letting other people do things as well. Again, it's a sign of maturity and seniority in a team. So it's a great take.
So, can either of you share a personal story where you took on a yes when you should have actually said no, and talk about a little bit of what the impacts of that were?
I kind of touched on that. Like one that was really impactful in my life was during that phase where I was speaking a lot at conferences, traveling a
yes.
lot, like overseas to do that. So there was one year, and when I was pregnant of my first child, I did I think 4 conferences overseas during the pregnancy. So I traveled a lot, even as I was pregnant. And I so then it got to one conference where I just was not physically able to go anymore because I was 6 months pregnant. I had to travel. My brain was not there. I was tired, exhausted. And I had to cancel that conference. I had to call them and cancel. In that, I felt it in my bones. Like, I'm letting people down. It wasn't super close to the conference, but I had already said yes. I had already kind of started preparing. And I've organized conferences myself, and I know how hard it is when someone cancels on you because you got to find someone to fill that spot. So I was feeling all of that pressure. And I think that was the moment of awakening for me where I had to say no because physically I couldn't do it. I pushed my body to the point of exhaustion, and I said no. And then at that point, I said, from here on, I am going to be much more thoughtful, much more conscious about the decisions that I make when someone asks me to do something, because I don't want to be in this spot ever again, because there's no amount of I'm sorry and
I love that.
explaining
Yeah.
and whatever that you could take that feeling of failure from me. Like, I know I didn't fail and all of that, but you know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah.
said yes, and I shouldn't have said yes. So that, to me, that's the failure, not the fact that I couldn't go because I was physically ill, but the fact that, I should have looked ahead and say, hey, that's a bit too much for the phase that I'm in my life. So that was my pivotal moment about learning how to say no the wrong way. Like, I should have learned it in a different way, but that was my point.
Well, unfortunately, we work in the age when like we expected to do so much. It's like we expected to do extra. We are not expected to meet expectations. We always expect to exceed
Exceed.
expectation. Yeah, exceed expectations. And very often, unfortunately, the way how we get to know that we have done too much is our body is failing us. And I do have similar experience that Ellie did, but it was personal commitment. It wasn't a work commitment. So my boyfriend was having a surgery, and I was just like driving back and forth from the hospital and back home, and I was just like kind of taking care of them. And once they got out of the hospital, I got sick by myself.
I
Like
remember that. Oh,
yes, it was like so bad. It took me a week to recover.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, well, I pushed myself too hard. Right. And then I had another situation later, which was my friend came to visit and they needed to go to Miami to see their family. And they asked if I can drive them. And I have to say that I hate driving in Miami. It's a lot of traffic. It's just like, it's crazy drivers for me. For me, I think it's crazy drivers. Like they're like
yeah.
going very fast, very fast. So, and I do not like I had the new car that time, and like I wasn't very comfortable with that yet. So I did say yes. I did say yes. But then I took some time to think through that, and I needed to back up from that commitment. Also, it was hurtful, but it was much better to say no than like after saying yes than like following through, and like I'm not sure how it would end up, really. Just like how much more stress I would have put on myself if I would have done it. So like I kind of like I feel like I have learned something, but it's still like it's a lifelong learning experience, right? For us, like when to say yes, when to say no, because it's the back of our mind. And I feel like it's kind of international culture, right? We all want to help, we want to be supportive, we want to be um, a good person. And this is what, well, it's expected that if you're being asked something, you would say yes, unless we're like extreme circumstances, right? So we are trying to. Well, but majority of people are people pleasers.
Yes.
Yes, naturally.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's a survival instinct, you know. If you're
Yeah.
if it, no, a million years ago you went and got excluded from your tribe, you're definitely gonna
Yeah.
die. So
We are
you
tribe
needed to be
we are
likable. Yeah.
tribe animals.
Yes. How about you, Royalee?
I think I can relate to both of your stories. I know I've had many situations where, and I touched on it a little bit with the burnout, right? Like I've had
Yeah.
situations where I say yes when I shouldn't, and I put all this pressure on myself where I am staying up late, I'm taking away time from my family to get this commitment done, whatever the case is. And it leads to burnout, it leads to resentment, it leads to personal issues within my own life, because like I said, I'm taking away time from my family. There are things that are higher priority that I should be focused on in reality that I'm not. And so it's I've learned a lot from, and Veronika, you actually taught me something years ago that still sticks with me. Like if someone asks you to do something, even if you think it's a yes, don't say yes. Just tell them I need a few days or I need some time to think about it. And so like I try to do that now. Like I won't say yes, even if I see where I could, but I take some time. I really think it through. I make sure that it aligns. I make sure that I have the bandwidth, and then I'll respond with a yes or a no. Because, saying yes when you really should say no can sometimes lead to disrespect for the people involved, right?
Yeah.
That's true.
And, like when you say something you can't honor, you're setting the other person up for issues. And so, like it's very important to.
Yeah, you kind of like you gave your word and then you need to take your word back. It's harder to
It's
take it
much
back than
harder.
not to say anything.
Yeah. And I think that's why we end up in burnout, right? Because we sometimes know that it gets to a point where you're like, okay, I should have said no to this. I said yes, but if I just did work a little harder or just get it done, because it's better to get like in our minds, in my mind at least, to get it done than to have to face someone to say, hey, I can't do it. I'm letting you down here. So I can totally relate to that.
I want to just for us to step back and talk through some takeaways from like what we have discussed, right? So I want to like just summarize the practical checklist before you say yes.
Yes, that's great.
So first, does the ask is aligned with your values or with your company's values based on what the ask is? Is it like personal ask? Is it like work ask? Right then, does this respect my time and energy? Do I have this energy to give, really? Do I have this capacity to do this kind of like emotional capacity, right? Like not only physical like time, but also do I have this energy to give for this task, to give it 100%? Will this help my team in the long to achieve long-term goals? Again, coming back to what are the goals, what are the priorities, how are we aligned with that? And the last one, but not least, like, will I be proud of this commitment later? Oh, I will dread it.
Yeah, I love it.
Great summary.
Yeah, it's all about like again, at least for me, it's I had to learn that no is not a negative thing, right? I used to think like that any no is letting people down, but I had to reframe that for me and just remind myself a thoughtful no is better than a nice yes, right? So if you explain why there is a no, the person is going to be much happier with you than if you say a yes and you can't deliver, and you're going to be much happier with yourself as well. I'm assuming as well. So yeah,
Yeah, and it helps to build trust, right? Like it shows honesty. So like when you say no instead of overcommitting, people learn that they can rely on your word. And it
yes.
sets that realistic expectation and it prevents like the future surprises, as we mentioned, the delays and disappointments.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's every meaningful yes, I think, is made possible by a courageous no. So it takes courage to say no, but the meaningful yes comes after that. So this was awesome. I really loved, us talking about this. I think it's really topical. I need to be reminded also very often of this. So now we have a recording
We
of this,
all
and I
are.
can and I can keep listening to this, on a periodic basis, kind of to remind my own self, because it's easier said than done. So
Indeed.
thank you. Yeah, thank you for sharing all your stories, being so open about it. It's really hard to say no, but we're all learning together. So just before we wrap the episode today, how about we do one round of this or that, just the three of us? We haven't done that before. We've been doing that with our guests this season. I thought, well, let's, be a great idea for us to just do one round for the three of us. How about that?
Let's do that.
All right. All right. You know how it goes. So let's get started. Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Tea. Ooh, we're three tea ladies.
Okay.
All right.
No coffee person in here.
Cats or dogs?
Cats.
Dogs.
Can I say
Cats.
both? Honestly, like Veronica's like cats all the way.
Here is my cat.
Oh,
Growing up as pets, we had both cats and dogs. I'm
nice.
genuinely terrified of dogs. I feel like I live better with cats, but I really, really, really want a dog. Don't
Yeah.
ask. I'm afraid of dogs, but I want a dog. Make it make sense.
You
But
need to walk
that's where
it.
I'm at right now.
You need to walk it.
You need to. See, I am so lazy that the thought of having any of those, one more thing to take care of. I've got two kids and I'm like, I can't take care of one more soul. Like
You
I can't.
have to pick one, Lily.
See, my husband is like,
I'll-
you can't get a dog because if it comes in this house, it's gonna be my responsibility. He said it's his responsibility. He said
Oh,
anything that comes to the
really?
door becomes his responsibility, so he doesn't want a dog. Because he said he knows once it comes to the door, I'm not gonna walk it, and it's gonna be left on him.
There you go.
Well,
Yeah,
do
if I had
you
to
have
pick
like?
one, Go.
Yeah, you have to pick one.
I pick a dog. Then
Oh, really? Okay.
I don't know.
I mean,
I
cats,
had a
cats,
dog when
they
I was
do
a
take
kid.
care of themselves, right? Like
I know.
they're easier to take care of.
You
It's
still have
hard
to
to choose,
feed
but
it, and
you're true, but you can get that automatic feeder, right? They
oh
can
yeah,
feed themselves. They clean themselves, But I think I would go with dogs just because I really want a dog.
fair enough.
They smell.
All right, let's leave
You
it at
can
that.
tell I'm a cat person, right?
Totally.
I'm sorry, really.
All right.
Of course.
Next
That's
up
awesome.
is sweet snacks or salty snacks? Sweet all the way.
Salty
Always.
for me. I love potato chips.
Sweet and salty.
What is that?
Like kettle corn. I think we mentioned this on an episode before.
Yeah.
But I think if I had to choose, I would probably go salty because I love like Veronica said, chips, like Cheetos, cheese puffs. I love those things. So I think
Wow.
I'm gonna go salty.
I'm always sweet. Chocolate cakes, ice cream, or any or
hate
all of
chocolate
it is
cake.
what it or a chocolate cake, a cake ice cream. All of that is amazing.
Why not?
But what
All
I don't
together.
get is the sweet salty trend, like the salty caramel, and it just doesn't. My brain just doesn't process it.
It's like one or the other.
Exactly. It's just a dessert. I just can't do it. My husband loves the salty caramel thing, and I'm
I
like,
remember.
how? I don't
Yeah,
know.
I
Fries
remember.
dipped in ice cream. It's
Oh, I love that.
delicious.
Fries dipped in ice. This is
Yes,
amazing.
delicious.
And another thing, caramel and cheddar popcorn. Like it's a
Oh,
mix. So they have it
I've never had
mixed in
that.
the bag. They have like caramel popcorn and cheddar popcorn. So and they are mixed in the
Mixed
bag.
together.
I would try that.
That's
Okay.
that's nice.
Sounds
Yeah, I
awesome.
would try that too.
Yeah, next up, beach or mountains?
Beach.
I'm a
Beach.
beach all the way.
Okay.
I'm an island girl. I'm a beach girl. I do love the mountains though, but beach.
I do too. Yeah, it's a different thing though. If I had to pick, it would always be beach.
Oh yes, I love just relaxations and you can get while laying on the beach and reading
Yeah.
the book. It's
Yes.
amazing.
Dream. You're both in the right place for that. I don't know what I'm doing here in New York. So. Especially at this time of the year. We are recording this in December. It's like it's cold. I keep asking myself why.
I am actually terrified of Florida beaches. So it's like I'm here, I'm close to the beach, but it doesn't even benefit me because I can't handle the sharks. I can't handle the flesh eating bacteria. Like there's just too many things that pop up. Take me to Jamaica. I'm at the beach all day, every day. But here in Florida, it's a no.
Oh my gosh. I think I've been desensitized for all the years I lived in Australia because, it's the same
Oh
like
my
thing
gosh.
there.
Yeah.
Like anything in the beach is gonna try to kill you every time. I mean, we just go anyway, so
In the beach and on land.
yeah.
Take the chances, yes.
I know. All right, last question before we go. Book or podcast?
Podcast. Subscribe, please.
Yes,
It's
exactly.
For me, it's a book because I couldn't fall asleep without reading the book. So yeah, book.
But you have to
Book.
say podcast because this is a podcast.
Okay.
It's a
Well,
book, but
I
we'll
kind of
scrap
like
that.
do a
We'll
lot
say-
of podcasting during the day, but
Just kidding.
to fall asleep. This is the thing. Do you remember our first episode? I said that my favorite device is Kindle.
You
Yeah.
did.
Book.
You did.
Book. Hello.
You're
Book
true.
all
You
of the
do.
way.
Yes.
All right, we'll
All
give
right.
you a pass this time, Veronika.
Okay.
Only this time.
But I do podcasts too.
All right, well, that's a wrap for today's episode. This was such a great conversation about the power of saying no, setting those boundaries and protecting our energy or focus and the quality of our work. And just, it felt so good to dive into this topic. So if you liked what you heard, hit that subscribe button. I can hear Veronika's cats. She really do love cats. But if you liked what you heard, hit that subscribe button, leave us a quick review, and share this episode with someone who might need a reminder that no can actually be a superpower.
Thanks so much for joining us today. We loved exploring this topic with you, and we hope it gives you a little confidence the next time you will need to choose alignment over obligation. We can't wait to share more with you.
Yes, and you can follow the podcast wherever you get your shows. Find all the details at our website, www.engineeringqualitypodcast.com. Can connect with us on LinkedIn at Engineering Quality Podcast. And now watch our conversations on YouTube at Engineering Quality. Until next time, bye for now, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.